to start us off?
Right, so we chose to make a film in the action genre and the superhero subgenre because they are really popular as of late. In the last couple of years, superhero films have been doing really well, and as a financial standpoint, they profit really well. So,
And plus there hasn't been an actual live action adaptation of this character, so that gives us an opportunity to create something new.
And we're also fans of superhero films, and because we all know the character Red Hood reasonably well, we thought that we could develop a really good teaser trailer and film for it if we were going to make a film. Plus, we also decided to make this film because realistically, in the DC Cinematic Universe, which Warner Brothers owns and produces, they're just starting out with their cinematic universe and they haven't done a Red Hood film, and lately they've announced that they're going to do films for various spin-off characters like Nightwing and Batgirl, and so we thought that realistically if this was going to be an actual production, Red Hood would be a character that would likely be turned into a film, so that was one of the reasons why we also decided to do it.
Yeah.
some of similar films that we looked into were The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises by Christopher Nolan. I also looked into Captain America Winter Soldier, as they made a really good attempt at creating an anti-hero and a villain through Bucky Barnes, or the Winter Soldier, through that film.
Yeah, I looked at similar films as Ronan, but adding to that, I've also looked at films like John Wick. I've looked at films like John Wick because it incorporates the sort of action style that we wanted to go for with Red Hood. And plus, it was originally made on a very tight budget, which is similar to the situation we're in right now, because we obviously don't have a lot of budget to spend on making this teaser trailer for Red Hood.
Yeah, that film, it was really realistic. There wasn't like any over-the-top effects, like crazy explosions or anything. We couldn't really do it anyway.
Well,
so that was
yeah,
best.
sort of echoing off what James and Ronan were saying, it's because films like John Wick and John Wick 2 had such a small budget, they had to prioritise the money on, because they couldn't afford huge explosions, they put most of it onto actual fight choreography and making it brutal and a bit more adult. But watching those films, we realised that that's in the sort of similar vein that the Red Hood comics are in terms of action and tone. So we felt that if we had a smaller budget, we again would prioritise with making the choreography look as aggressive and brutal as possible, just to make sure we'd prioritise the actual choreography over special effects, so it wouldn't dilute it.
When constructing our teaser trailer, we used things like establishing shots to set the film. We used voiceovers and a soundtrack, so we muted all of our footage. That way, the quality of the camera, its audio detection, wasn't really included in our work. The soundtrack was an instrumental, so what we actually showed on screen wasn't taken away from by lyrics or anything. We used a soundtrack that varied from a slow to a fast pace, so the further in you got to the trailer, the more intense it got. And the music, it wasn't meant to disrupt what we had on the screen, it was meant to add to it, and if anything, make it more appealing to our character.
And we're looking at various other films which are in our genre. For example, we looked at other DC films like Batman v Superman done by Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, and Chris Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Various things that we noticed in terms of camera usage was that they used particular filters, like Christopher Nolan's filters were very sort of colourless grey filters. Zack Snyder's a fan of using blue tinted ones. So, and the effect of that was it created a very colourless and sort of unsettling atmosphere. It was very dark. So we decided that for our teaser trailer we were going to use a filter. We were going to use a blue one to have the same effect of sapping all of the colour out of the actual shots, making the audience feel uncomfortable and not at ease. But in reality what we did is we didn't use a blue filter, we used a slightly darker normal filter which was similar to sort of like a bleaker grey one, which is similar to what Christopher Nolan uses. And in turn that helped create a more threatening atmosphere.
For our costume, we tried to make it realistic and not too over the top. Besides the mask, because that is essentially how the character was recognised besides his logo on his top, we had to keep that there. We put him in a hooded jacket and grey trousers, just to make him look normal. We didn't want to make him stand out like a Superman in spandex and a cape. Nothing too bright. Something that would make him more unique, but kind of similar to people day to day.
And I guess
unique as a superhero, I guess.
that's part of our unique selling point is that by portraying Red Hood as not this sort of like larger than life character, but sort of like a gritty, down to earth person who could be like any person off of the street, it makes the character more relatable, and therefore the audience can feel like they can actually see this character being a realistic in real life. So by having him dressed like an everyday person, it makes him more relatable, and the audience can connect with him better.
Furthermore, on that point, because of our really tight budget, this is sort of the best we can come up with for our costume, given the money that we have available to spend on, actually.
And in terms of sound that we looked at in other movies, sound was used to signify like emotions, particularly music and soundtrack were in other films, in other super films we looked at. Music, particularly in the Dark Knight trilogy, Hans Zimmer's score was used to convey the emotions of characters and scenes. Like each character had their own specific theme. So in looking at that, what we took away from that is we need a particular soundtrack for this trailer to give the overall trailer and film a feel, like the film would have its own music. So we picked Zach Hemsey's Vengeance track, and we thought it was aptly named because vengeance is an integral theme to do with the Red Hood character and story arc and the origin of why he became an anti-hero. And actually listening to it, it sounded quite unsettling, quite threatening, and we thought that this best exemplified the Red Hood character, and we thought it would fit really well in a teaser trailer. So that's why we picked that one. One other thing. In the Batman films, shadow and light are contrasted to symbolize good and evil, particularly in Gotham. When you see shots of Gotham, it's mainly shot within like extremely dark and murky areas or extremely light and well-lit areas, and that's used to signify the sort of like the blurred line between good and evil within the city. So within the flashback shots of our trailer where Jason Todd is being beaten by the Joker, we used the black and white to also signify not just the flashback, but also the two themes of good versus evil, where the Joker is seen in shadow as well as Jason Todd, but also light is there because it's signifying, Joker bad, Jason Todd good, but also the blurring of the lines which Jason Todd eventually goes down when he becomes Red Hood as an anti-hero.
Furthermore, onto that point of filming our establishing shots, because we live in London, we avoided filming any of the classical conventions of London that make London basically, essentially. We avoided filming stuff like the London Eye, the Big Ben and stuff. So in order to keep our establishing shots looking like it's actually Gotham. And also with our editing, we use a lot of typical editing techniques like match on action, fast cuts, that's used to convey the fast pace of the scene. This is especially seen in the
mugging scene.
Yeah, the mugging scene and a montage run of our mugger running around.
We also cross-cut the flashback between different establishing shots for our character. We first show the Joker with the crowbar, and then later on in the trailer we show him standing over Red Hood and then about to hit him with the crowbar. So it's spliced in between different shots for our trailer.
And with going back to editing, when we looked at other teaser trailers, we noticed that the studio logos at the very beginning of the teaser trailers were often, the colours were changed for that specific film. Like the Warner Brothers logo is typically yellow and sort of like blue, but when it was done for the Batman films, the colours were either black, like grey, or blue. So, and that was to sort of reflect the overall tone of the film. So with our one, we decided to change the studio logos at the beginning of our teaser trailer to red, to obviously symbolise Red Hood, to make it synonymous to that character. So we thought that changing that in editing would just be a nice little add-on touch.
And that leads to a combination of products, am I right?
Yep.
So when we created the magazine and the poster, what we wanted to focus on was the Red Hood logo, which is essentially a red Batman logo. It's noticeable to everybody who knows Batman, and when they see that character, they're like, wow, it's DC, it's Batman, wow. But it will draw attention to our brand, and we helped use synergy, or we used synergy through different mediums by just centralizing that logo through the poster, through the magazine, at the end of our trailer as well. So that's the last thing that people think of and the first thing when they see some of our content as well.
And because we made an effort to make the logo something simple and not too overcomplicated, because the simpler it was in design, the more effective the overall sort of like the more effective it would be in making audiences sort of like recognize what it symbolizes. Like it is just the red shape of the red helmet with the red symbol on a black background, and the contrasting colors between the vibrant red and the dark black background make the symbol and logo stand out. So aesthetically it's quite nice to look at, but it's also very eye-catching. So we thought that if we were going to make these as, in an advertising campaign, it would stick into people's minds very easily.
What we also added to on the logo in the magazine cover was the eyes from the mask of the Red Hood's mask. The eyes from Red Hood's mask into the middle of the red bat. What that did was it will like help separate Batman and Red Hood, so that when people look at our teaser trailer, they're like, is that Batman or is that somebody else? So they know it's not Batman. Basically, that'll help give a little bit more detail, make it look a little bit less simplistic, but still effective as well.
Further on from Ronan's point, because of how similar the logo of the Red Hood is to the symbol that Batman usually has, not only would it attract our target audience, but it would also catch the attention of casual audiences as well. Because Batman as a character is incredibly popular, most people know of the superhero, and if they were to see the Red Hood logo, automatically they'd be able to assume that it has something to do with Batman, and in the end that would hopefully lead them to actually researching more about the Red Hood of our film, basically.
When it came to choosing our magazine brand, we ended up choosing Empire. We did this because Empire has a really large readership in the UK. I think it's about 450,000 copies sort of read a week. And, is it a week or is it a year?
I thought it was a month.
Or a month. No, I think, yeah, you're right. I think it's 450,000 issues sort of read every month. So that's quite a large readership in terms of getting our product out there and advertising. Plus, Empire is very good at being doing advertising for film, like blockbusters and things like that. And it's mainly read by people who aren't looking to study film as like an art and deconstruct films, but mainly read by people who just want to see what's the next latest thing that they can enjoy at the cinema. And we felt that best suit our film, because we aren't trying to make a film which is like the next Casablanca or like something like that. We just wanted to make a film that was fun and for the mass audience, so we thought that the readership of Empire and the magazine Empire were a good fit for our film.
Yeah, going off of his point, it's the #1 read magazine in the UK for films, and also the colour scheme that the actual Empire logo is red. So what we thought was we could give the magazine a black background and then put the red logo in the middle, and that'll help it not only link with the red colour of the title, but it'll help it stand out as well. So it's simplistic, but it's eye-catching as well.
Furthermore, with Empire magazine, there has been other very mainstream superhero movies that have been shown on Empire magazine, such as the likes of Batman v Superman, or Captain America Civil War, or Deadpool even. So adding Red Hood into that list of mainstream movies within the Empire magazine, that would sort of make our movie...
That would help it out a lot.
Yeah, basically.
Yep. Also, the contextual details that carry across all three mediums is the font and text of like the Red Hood still stays the same, and the colour scheme of red stays the same across all three. Yeah, that's basically it. It's just this, we made an effort to just make sure that it was consistent across all three so that our brand was simple and easy to recognise.
Right, moving on to the technology that we used. The camera that we used was called the Canon XF300. We used that with a Rode boom mic so that we could pick up our voice when we did the voiceovers. We edited it on a PC, and we used Photoshop to create our poster and our magazine cover. We used Premiere Pro as our editing software. I personally am more used to Sony Vegas, so transitioning over to that was a bit difficult for me to begin with, but the more editing we did down the line, it was a lot easier.
Yeah, I'd have to say that because I've used Premiere Pro before, it wasn't too difficult to adjust to it, but still had a few things to learn while doing it, but I found that overall, once you got the hang of it, it was quite easy to use. For the research, the technology that we used was, we used a website called SurveyMonkey Online, which we used to put our online survey out there on the web. We also used Blogger.com for our blogs. Used YouTube to upload our focus groups and videos that we took. We also use handheld cameras. I think they're the Canon ones we're using now. And we also used an iPad for the initial focus group. We used YouGov for target audience research, which we used, target audience research on the audiences of other films to do in our genre. And then we also use Google for search of similar related products and things,
Yeah, and obviously for our evaluation, we're recording it right now. We plan to edit this with Adobe Premiere Pro and then uploading this onto our blogs.
And Blogger.
Yeah.
and also to YouTube as well.
Oh yes, YouTube.
Maybe as well.
Yeah, for the behind the scenes footage, we used our phones as well.
Yeah. So, audience feedback?
Yeah, I got audience feedback. Alright, so after we finished the trailer, we showed it to another focus group, and unfortunately we weren't able to get the original people. Well, we never really got the original group. Never stayed the same during all of our focus groups. So, would we change that if we went back and kept it as the same, or do you think it didn't really have that much?
I feel like we should have kept it.
In retrospect, yes, but obviously because of our time constraints and busy schedules of our original focus group members, that was impossible.
Yeah, so if we were to go back, we would make sure that we could find people that were available for all three focus groups that we did. But the upside of having completely fresh new people look at our teaser trailer was that none of them were in it and they didn't really know indeed what we were doing, so they didn't have any prior knowledge going into our teaser trailer as much as the people who were in it, the other focus groups. So that presented to us a less biased and fresh opinion that would be more realistic to general audiences coming and seeing.
You could say they represent the casual fan.
In
the movies, really.
Anybody who just likes a movie could be seeing our trailer randomly in a YouTube advert or on TV. Could be seeing a poster on a billboard. You never know.
So things that they liked, they really liked the soundtrack as it created a really cool and unsettling atmosphere, which they liked. They also liked the various different camera angles and shots that we used within the trailer. They thought that they were quite innovative and really nice to look at. On costume, they thought the costume design could be improved a little bit. They thought that it, they just thought it could be improved. Why do you think it was that? Do you think it because they didn't think it looked professional enough?
I suppose I would have assumed so.
On a tight budget, that's really what we could pull off though.
And plus, this was probably the first time like a superhero would be dressed in that sort of way.
They're probably not used to seeing
Exactly.
superheroes dressed like that.
Because the whole point of us was to make it look less professional, like as if it was done by a studio costume.
I guess to us that's a success, but to them, they don't really know what we planned.
Because usually you expect like the tight-fitting spandex and everything to look immaculate, but I don't think any of us could make a spandex suit.
And also another thing they didn't particularly understand was the flashback scenes that were in black and white. Because they had no prior knowledge of to what the Red Hood is and his backstory, they didn't understand that scene particularly with the Joker beating him to death with a crowbar.
They didn't really understand what our intention was of making it black and white in the first place. They didn't understand that it was a flashback. They were just like, oh, it's a part of the trailer with no colour. What's this? What's this doing?
They saw it as a eyesore, basically, the whole trailer.
They also thought that quite a large number of our shots were very grainy, and they prefer if they weren't. That's our fault because we were filming generally in quite dark areas, so we didn't have quite good lighting, so a number of the shots did look grainy. So if we were to go back, we'd probably make sure that we had better lighting when we were filming to avoid that.
The camera quality as well. Low light quality wasn't really too great, so if you filmed in a dark room or in a basement like we did, then it would come out grainy regardless of what we ever did. So.
And again, with our really tight budget, we can't afford any professional lighting that could be used to rectify that problem, really.
From previous focus groups, what we learned from the two before this last one, which we did, was they wanted the costume to look original, like the original in the comics, and I think that we did a slight instead of the brown jacket, we had a black hoodie on for you.
Yeah. Like a black trench coat, not trench coat, like a military jacket.
Yeah, and instead of having grey trousers and like brown boots, everything was in black with the red helmet and the red symbol. So it looks similar to it, but it's distinct enough, which we put, so you can say that we put our own spin on it because we wanted the costume to look unique to us. They also, the original two focus groups beforehand wanted to have the trailer to have a serious tone, and I think we achieved that because of what the last focus group said after them. And they also wanted the teaser to have action scenes. Now, we had one action scene, which was the at the end. Yeah.
The crowbar.
Oh no, the mugging. Yeah. Oh, and the crowbar.
Okay, the crowbar was kind of implied. We didn't really show much.
Yeah. I mean, so technically we had two action scenes. Yeah. So maybe we could have had a few more in there. And they also wanted Easter eggs. Easter eggs we did have. We put, well, technically, yeah, I can think of
the crowbar is its own Easter egg. So.
Well, the whole Joker thing is, well, that's not really an Easter egg.
I want to say that's an Easter egg. We added in posters that were sort of a nod to the classic characters within the Batman universe. For example, in one of our scenes we had a Riddler poster, which was a green question mark that was posted on top on the wall. There was another poster with the Batman symbol, really not clear enough to see, but there were...
but we saw it, so you know.
Yeah, it was Joker styled with a lot of like graffiti on it in green to signify that, you know, it was from the Joker. And I think we had a vote for Dent one, didn't we? Yeah.
We used that.
Yeah, we did. I'm pretty sure we did in the mugging scene.
Oh,
Yeah, that was split in half to again signify that it's Two-Face.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Can we count the Joker card as an Easter egg? Because I mean, he's not dressed like the Joker.
Well, I wouldn't count...
Because it's literally right in the middle of the screen, and it has to be something that's hard and someone has to look out for. Basically, yeah.
And the last thing which we learned from our initial focus groups was that they liked the plot of our teaser trailer when we explained it to them. So yeah, that was good. Now, moving on to the online survey, what we learned from them was a large majority of the respondents said that they actually liked watching teaser trailers, and we had a sample of 70 people, and so I think that was pretty good. I think it was like 50-something said that they watched them.
Yeah.
Around about then. So a large majority of our sample watched them, so it bodes well to thinking that the majority of the general population watches teaser trailers. And a large majority of the people that said they do watch them said that they enjoyed watching them, so again, bodes well for us. But on retrospect, we didn't really... Did we ask them any questions about the superhero genre?
I don't think we did.
No,
we asked specifically
technical
about
questions.
the teaser.
Yeah. So...
I think our goal then,
questions for the focus group. I think.
Yeah, because I think our goal then was to give our teaser trailer the most, how do you say it, recognition,
you mean
views.
So you mean like the most wider view, like trying to get a big
audience basically. Yeah.
So yeah, but on retrospect, I think would we have asked some superhero genre specific questions? I think we should have done.
We probably should have. Yeah, in
Just like
retrospect.
set the tone for survey.
Yeah. Then, so we chose our specific target audience, it was 15 to 40, just double checking that was right. Yeah, so we chose this specifically because we noticed that on various different websites we looked at for similar product films where people, we looked at the ages of people who said that they liked them. The upper bracket for most the age of people who said that they liked watching the films was 40, and generally it was like the lowest was like 20 something, so between 20 and 40. So that was the age bracket for people who said that they like the films online. But because we are, we've hang around with friends of people who are obviously younger than that age, we know that a large majority of people who do go and see these films are below the age of 22 and things like that. So we lowered it from 22 to 15, and then so our age bracket was 15 to 40 because we felt that encapsulated the majority of people who do watch these films, because while there is the younger generation that also like superhero films, a lot of the older generation go and watch these films because they grew up reading the comics from like 30, even 40 years ago. So it would stand to reason that they would still go and watch these films because it's, you know, the characters they read when they were younger. And what our general target audience looks like, seriously, that's a question I asked. It said, like, what did the target audience look like? They look like normal people.
Yeah, just casual.
Just anyone you see.
Just anyone.
They could see somebody who watches a superhero.
Yeah, just look in the mirror, it would look like you. But their personalities are generally, they can vary as well. Like, there was no specific
Yeah, you can't really say, the only if you look like this, you watch this certain kind of film.
Yes.
If you look like this, you watch romance. If you look like this, you have to watch romance films.
Otherwise, it's just stereo.
The main thing that remains synonymous around all of those is the fact that
They
they
like
superhero films, obviously. Anything else can vary.
Yeah.
The only thing that did stand out in our research was that it was mostly males.
Yeah.
Who did respond to our survey.
Yes.
So we feel like female audiences weren't really represented. So if we could like just send that out to girls.
Next time in retrospect, in hindsight,
It's
basically.
like, females, please sign this. You're helping us so much.
In retrospect, we probably should have used at least one female in one of our focus groups as well.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
true. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, in
Never
retrospect,
actually-
we probably should have done that as well.
I mean, I totally thought of that, but these guys shut me down, so.
So, should we move on to what we like, what we're most proud of in making it, and what what changed the most,
Okay.
as to finish it off?
Yeah, so what I think I was most proud of, besides my acting ability, was the fact that when we edited it together, like without the music, it looked kind of. How should we say? It wasn't
Bland.
up to our expectations.
Yeah.
But then when we were editing it, we put the music in. Like it was just like a whole other level. It was awesome. I would click repeat. I would just watch it with the music. It was awesome. So I was really proud of like putting the music in and creating that atmosphere. What things I would improve for next time? Are we doing one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one. Just one.
One thing I would improve for next time. Yeah, I think it would be trying to get a better understanding of what the female audience like in superhero films, because we didn't get a lot of that in comparison to the male viewership, because a lot of the males participated in our survey and our focus group was all male. So yeah, I think having a few more females voice their opinions and getting to understand what that specific bracket wants in a superhero film would be beneficial.
Yeah, what I was personally most proud of in the duration of this was the making of the props and the costume, really. Because we already had a basic idea of what the Red Hood should look like and what props and costume you should make for that character. And making the costume and the props, spray painting the plastic gun, spray painting the shirt, and even buying the mask, in the end it really fit the image of what we really wanted to go for. And I was really proud of that because it actually went according to plan. And what I would change in retrospect is to organize our shooting schedule way better.
Oh yeah.
Because some of us work and have really tight, busy schedules, since we have other subjects as well to focus on, and plus actors that we needed to use also had really busy schedules, so sometimes that would clash with our original shooting dates that we wanted to shoot on, and we had to reschedule again and again and again. So in retrospect, I would organize that way better.
Yeah. Right. The thing that I'm probably most proud of is our construction of the actual teaser trailer. We all played a part in editing it. So the fact that we all came together and made one thing, we all had the same vision about this trailer.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty outstanding, to be fair. And the way it came out in the end, the trailer, I can't talk about it, I'm not sure. The music actually blew my mind when we added it. Like Matthew said, it made it look so much different. It actually gave it a feel. When you watch a teaser trailer on mute, you can't really tell anything from it, but the music, it tells you a lot about the character and it just sets the tone of the entire film. The only thing that I wanted to change about it maybe though is show more combat from the Red Hood, because we only show him holding up a gun really and getting beaten up with a crowbar. So we don't really know what he's capable of. Like, you didn't see him do any hand-to-hand combat or anything. He just holds up a gun and then the trigger and shoots a guy. That's it.
Alright, that's it.